If this doesn't get rectified and gets rectified in the very, very near future, within the next few weeks, our world, and when I say our world, I'm not just talking about where I live or where you live, but our world, our planet is going to be a different place. They will be sicker, they will be controlled, they will not have any privacy, they will not have any future. I want to make sure the world understands where the problem lies. The danger is not what's in front of you, the danger is what you're being distracted from. The only way that you can control people is by keeping them in ignorance. But as soon as a person becomes empowered with knowledge, the one thing is that nobody can control you once you are aware. The world needs to wake up and understand that what's happening right now is an illusion, and it's going to mandate other things coming down, which is include RF chips. Everybody's going to have mandated vaccinations so that they can track those people and know who's been vaccinated, who's not been vaccinated. Stanford came out with a study a couple of days ago. The Stanford study said this shows that the rate of death from COVID-19 is no different from influenza. That's what the study showed. Do you know what mainstream reported? That the study showed this is more rampant than anywhere else on the planet. This is more rampant than we thought. Well, of course it is. I think the entire population of the world's been exposed to it. But they didn't focus on that part of it. They just said, because the Stanford study said that we think it's much more widespread, but the death rate is no difference in flu. And in fact, that's based upon the data that they're giving, the data that's being reported for cause of death. But you know the memes right now. You fall out of a plane without a parachute, cause of death, COVID-19. You get shot in the head, COVID-19 killed you. You have a heart attack, COVID-19. They're putting the cause of death as COVID-19 for almost everything right now. And we've heard this type of information before. Some would call it conspiratorial, some would say it's rhetoric. But look, right now, you would have to be blind and deaf to not recognize that what is happening is not normal and is not justified. More doctors are not coming out and talking about this. The numbers don't add up. It's very, very simple. You can look at the math, you can look at the causes of death, you can look at how things are reported. And because they can't justify the numbers, they're now manipulating the numbers. They're now adding numbers to it. In other words, the number of deaths weren't sufficient to justify this, so they're now having nurses and doctors change death certificates after the patients have died. The only way that you can control people is by keeping them in ignorance. But as soon as a person becomes empowered with knowledge, the one thing is that nobody can control you once you are aware. You cannot be victimized once you're aware and once you've been empowered with knowledge. When a surgeon wears a mask, and when a nurse wears a mask with a critical patient, we're not wearing that mask to protect ourselves. When you're doing open heart surgery, you're replacing a knee, or you're doing some kind of hernia repair, why would you be worried about catching something? You're not. You're wearing the mask so you don't drool, you don't spit, you don't cough, you don't sneeze into that open surgical field. So because you're keeping it sterile. All right. When in certain societies they wear a mask, they're not wearing the mask to protect themselves. They're wearing the mask to protect others from them from them spreading it. Now we come to the United States and we come to the current issue. Everything is misinformation. All right. We know that stress increases the cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which decreases the immune system. So when you scare people, tell them to stay home, you suppress their immune system because you're scaring them. You further suppress them because economic issues, they're stressed out. Now you tell them wear a face mask. What are you doing when you're wearing a face mask? A face mask reduces the amount of oxygen coming in. So now your body's in a chronic state of stress. And that face mask is obstructing airway. Just today, I saw a woman that passed out in her car and died, had a car accident and died because of the lack of oxygen from her face mask. They're pushing this agenda, and it's an agenda to make people weaker, to make them more susceptible. The face mask then also prevents, when your body's being stressed out and you're not getting enough oxygen, it then creates other issues. You remember they said don't touch your face and don't okay, well, if you're sweating and you've got the face mask, don't you think people are going to be pushing it around? Okay, on top of that, when you have this release of viruses, because viruses live inside our cells, when they have this release, when I say live, they're not living, but when they're released, and you're wearing a face mask, you're preventing the ability you're actually stressing the body out and increasing the viral activation, if you will. All right, so you're actually increasing the susceptibility of the individual stress-wise and increasing the viral load. So tell me, if they really want to help people, why are they telling people that they should be wearing masks. It's completely preposterous. The world needs to wake up and understand that what's happening right now is an illusion, and it's going to mandate other things coming down, which is include RF chips. You know, for those of you that are soldiers out there, but you know what an 18 Delta is, all right? That is an SF medic. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. The technology to track a soldier when they're behind enemy lines or when they're in a maneuver, when you're in a movement, you always have to maintain 15 feet, correct? Wedge formation. Why are we maintaining 15 feet? If a round comes in, you don't want to have the whole unit taken out. So when you walk 15 feet apart, you know that you're not going to, one person steps on a landmine, it's not going to explode everybody. But there's another reason. It's tracking. We know that there's satellite tracking, which track the soldiers. We can see the movement. We can see where they're going. Within a 5-foot radius, you can pick up that soldier. You know where he is. Less than 5 feet, if you have 4, 5, 7, 10 people in a close group, you can't tell if it's one person or 10 people. So how do we know these RF chips that they're planning on inserting into our hands to pick up, to register whether or not people have been vaccinated? How do we know that those things aren't emitting a signal, and then they can monitor our, you know, how many people are congregating, where are we going, whatever. This is monitoring. This is Big Brother. Satellite technology already has that. They can pick that up. So now you think I want an RF chip in my hand that they can tell everything about me? How am I supposed to have any privacy? If I'm making love, if I'm, you know, going to the bathroom, they can pick up on all that stuff. That's why that's a violation of privacy. On top of that, just think about this for a second. How do we know that RF chip is not picking up a signal? It may be a transmitting device, but it may be a receiving device. How do we know that it's not picking up something and then affecting our bodies? I want people to recognize that if you allow fear to motivate you, by definition, you'll always be wrong. People have prayed for me and said many beautiful accolades, and sometimes I'm at a loss of words of how to respond to them because they're such generous words. But I ask people just to pray for me that I do God's will, and that my sword is swift and accurate, and that every other soldier that's involved in this battle for mankind, for the future of mankind, that their swords are swift and accurate. My motivation is my kids. You can kick me out. It doesn't make any difference. I've already lived 3 wonderful lifetimes just in this life. But my future of my kids, the future of their kids, the future of your kids, the future of everybody's kids, that's what we're fighting for. My license doesn't mean anything if we are ushering in the extinction of the human race. And that's where we're going if we allow all these things to continue unchecked.